you're never going to have a system that's perfectly sized for that home. You know, there's different factors involved with that, the types of ductwork it is, and the layout of the ductwork, other factors that involve that. Now, the old school mentality was oversized air conditioners.
You're listening to the Dory Podcast, where we spotlight the people, ideas, and businesses keeping Ottawa running. From contractors to real estate investors, entrepreneurs to industry experts, we dive into real conversations and help grow everybody's pie.
Episode 15, Draft Control Heating and Cooling Incorporated.
Good day. Today we have Selim from Draft Control Heating and Cooling. That's going to educate us.
Yes. Thanks for having me, Dan.
Yeah, thank you. So obviously, just for everybody's sake, I mean, Selim, you're one of our preferred vendors here at Dory Property Management. And I was just saying before we did the recording, you're one of the vendors that makes us look good. In many cases, we run into issues for heating, AC, and you're top of the list to make us to take care of our clients. So we appreciate it, and I'm happy that you're here today to discuss a bit more about what you do.
Oh, thanks so much, Dan.
No, thank you for coming. So give me just for everybody listening in, like in general, what do you do as services with Draft Control?
Well, I specialize in my company specializes in residential. Primarily, furnace, air conditioning, anything to do with the home, really, fireplaces. Okay. We also do gas lines as well, which is quite
gas line, like barbecue
generators becoming a new popular thing as well because of the crazy weather that we have at times.
And the not so reliable energy source.
Yes,
in some
exactly.
So you install generators, or you just
the gas line?
Do the gas line, okay?
And gas lines to pool heaters. A lot of underground stuff as well, where you have to run some plastic conduits. Sure. It's pretty extensive. A lot more red tape involved with underground services because. People digging, it's made out of plastic. If they nick it, then it's bad news.
Okay. Yeah. So you do all of that. So that's good.
Absolutely.
So with the push for green energy, and we hear all these things about heat pumps and all that, do you install heat pumps, or
we're getting more involved with that. It's the wave of the future. We've actually just taken a course on the rebate portion of that about a week and a half ago. So we're just trying to see if we're going to be one of the authorized vendors so that we could offer that rebate to our clients.
Okay. And I'm assuming that like a provincial rebate, is that?
It's a provincial one. Mostly provincial, not in Quebec, unfortunately, but. But I think the only one that's excluded is Cornwall. I think I read that for some reason. But Enbridge it's a push through Enbridge.
Oh, is it really?
The rebates are through them. Okay. And it could vary from $1,200. It could be upwards of $3,000, depending on the types of systems it is, or. But central ducted heat pumps is what we're going to start specializing in. And I carry Train, which is our premium brand, and we're well trained on that as well.
Okay. So there's be a push for that. 'Cause I guess there's a market demand for it right now.
Oh, absolutely. We're not sure how long the rebate's going to be running for, but hopefully a while, because it's quite a lot of hoops you got to jump through to snag that rebate for the clients.
Okay, are you suggesting that you'd be handling the rebate, or the client has to get the rebate?
We would do that. Now, a couple of years ago, there was another rebate that was being offered, upwards of close to $4,000 or $5,000, sometimes $6,500. Okay, which was pushed. It was all the paperwork was done through the auditor. There'd be a first audit of a couple hours, and then,
like they do
the pre-audit. Then we'd come in, install the equipment. And then there'd be the after audit. And then at that point, you would wait for a couple months and get a check in the mail. Okay. But now it's a lot less, and sadly, not nearly as much as they offered before.
Right. But simpler.
Simpler.
Okay. So hopefully you get to become a preferred vendor for that. And then, so I'm sure that people listening will follow that in the coming months. And
got to keep up with the Joneses and keep up with the times, right?
Yeah, exactly. And for somebody seeking to switch their heating source to a heat pump, what do they need to know? Because obviously you hear the good and the bad.
Right.
And I know there's, from a green energy perspective, there's a big push for that. But speaking some of the HVAC guys, not everybody's a huge fan of it. So what do people typically need to know?
It's slowly winning our hearts. I mean,
Okay.
we have to move forward. I mean, at some point, you never know. Maybe there's not going to be any more gas furnaces available. So
yeah, you just don't know.
Right. But there's the rebates, but to upgrade your system from a furnace, it's ideal it's more beneficial if it's from an electric furnace or oil system or propane system. And that way you get the most benefits financially.
Okay. Just because of the cost of the propane or the oil.
Exactly.
Right? Whereas
exactly.
now because gas is still somewhat...
it's very efficient still. But some of the heat pumps, I mean, air source heat pumps are being very... They've really come a long way, and the efficiency is almost at par, and sometimes even more so than natural gas at times,
right, eh? Okay.
Depending on the temperature outside. But upgrading your system, it's not a re anymore. It's basically you're going to upgrade your wiring. Sometimes that's not always easy. Now you're going from a 240 volt wire, which is a 12 gauge. Say now you have to go to 10 gauge, and you have to cut holes in the ceilings, upgrade your breaker, sometimes your entire panel.
Okay.
New thermostat, new wiring to the thermostat sometimes. It's not always easy, but it's in most cases it is doable.
Okay.
But I always recommend that, and when when they're on propane or on oil, because that's where you see the biggest bang. Exactly. Yeah. I myself installed my own heat pump, and I had a little comparison. And
what did you have before?
It was just an air conditioner, natural gas, high efficiency furnace.
Okay.
But last year the electricity was a little bit pricey, so I ended up using my heat pump just for running the air conditioner side of it, which is very efficient.
Is that right?
It's very efficient. Yeah.
Interesting.
Back in the day, the more common heat pumps would have been a ground source, the geothermal systems,
right?
Which would utilize the wells in order to
the water.
Yeah, that's right. So
and you need, I guess, a fairly good piece of land in order to make that
exactly.
happen.
A lot of urban homes in the country. But it's not always the case. If they have a well, then that's when they could turn that well into a condenser as well to get the heat transfers. Okay.
Yeah. Interesting.
Professional, reliable, local. Dore Property Management has been Ottawa's choice for 20 plus years. Call 613-227-0000 or visit dorerentals.com.
And so when people are exploring either switching systems or, we've heard, if you have, you put an AC that is either, or furnace that is larger than what the home is the square footage of the home, or if it's too small, how important is it to have the right equipment?
For air conditioners, it's super important. If it's undersized, then it just won't get the demand. But there's a fine line between being undersized or oversized, and that's usually one case or the other. You're never going to have a system that's perfectly sized for that home. There's different factors involved with that, the types of ductwork it is, and the layout of the ductwork. Other factors that involve that. Now, the old school mentality was oversized air conditioners. But the drawback to oversizing an air conditioner is now it's going to short cycle. So off, on. It won't get the dehumidification factor.
Because it cools too quickly.
Exactly.
The thermostat, then
you get then that cooling is going to be a clammy type of cooling. So it won't feel as cold.
So when they think they're going to go bigger to get better, but it's really not...
It's not always the case. Bigger is not always better. So that mentality has actually, it went from large systems, then it went to undersized systems. Now it's back to, you're almost, it's hard. Every situation is different. Right. Any kind of estimate, you'd have to go inside the house. And basically you ask all the right questions, what temperature you keep the house at? Do you have it on a program? Do you have it kept at one temperature? Is it going to be 23? Is it going to be 18? Different factors involved with that, because now if it's an undersized unit, sure, it's going to dehumidify properly, but now you're going to wait all day.
That's right. Yeah, well, that's why. Yeah, sometimes people want to cheapen out. They take a smaller system,
right?
And then it runs all the time.
Right.
Or some say I'll go big, but they go too big, and then the system barely runs,
and it won't be as efficient too. But you got to find the happy medium, I guess. But there's a lot more better coils than they used to have in the past. There's different options, the thermal expansion valves, which help dehumidify as well. So if it's slightly oversized, at least you have that coil to help dehumidify as well, because it governs the amount of refrigerant going into the coil,
right?
Which in turn helps get the most amount of dehumidification. It's like the heat wave outside, the Humidex, right?
Right.
Same rules apply in your house.
Right.
So basically, if it's outside, if it's 30 degrees and humid as heck,
yeah,
you're gonna really feel it.
Here,
right? Yeah.
That's when you get all the calls.
Right.
I'm gonna die. Yeah. My AC's not working.
Right. But after educating the clients and letting them know what you decide, what kind of solution would best suit their lifestyle and their house.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. No, that's good. And obviously we look after rental properties, a lot of single family homes and that type. So what do you suggest as a general rule of thumb for people who own properties, like in terms of maintenance when it comes to, say, a gas furnace or a central air conditioning? What is the intervals? How long, like what do they need to do? Is it has to be every year, second year, when it breaks? Like
for gas furnaces, it's good to have it done every year. Now it's not like back in the 80s where you oil the motor, you change out the belt, and a lot of engineers they end up doing it themselves.
Okay.
But these days it's very little cleaning and a lot more setting up, recalibrating the gas control, testing the safeties, emissions test, not unlike a vehicle. So basically, tune up on an air conditioner or furnace is very much like a tune up on a vehicle. You get your oil changes and your tune ups and such. Now, it is recommended for a furnace every year, an air conditioner. I mean, it's not going to be as crucial as far as the safeties are concerned. But in extreme cases, if the air conditioner is not maintained properly, you could get debris in the ductwork that will end up in the coil, the pan inside the inside the furnace, the ductwork above.
Yep.
It's the coil, which is usually an A-frame, and it has a drain pan. That's where it gets all the dehumidification out of your house, but it has to have somewhere to drain. So if that drain is plugged, it's going to overflow. It's going to go right into the furnace, damage components.
Right.
So that's important as well. But the most important thing is air filters.
Yep. Okay.
Now, a lot of people say just go with the cheapest possible filter, but no, there's a fine line as well. Cheapest pleated filter.
Okay.
And this is based on
cheapest pleated filter.
Exactly. Okay. The corrugated felt type thing.
Yep. Instead of just a foam.
Exactly. And don't get too expensive. Some people will spend upwards of $20 for a filter, a pleated filter, but it is restrictive as heck. Right. I mean, you can see a concave and the furnace is screaming.
Right. Because it has a hard time getting the air to go through.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So
that's interesting. Yeah,
you got to find the halfway mark.
Yeah.
Exactly, pleated but cheap pleated, and just keep changing it out. If you have the fan on continuous, which a lot of people do have, because in a sense they use it as a central air cleaner for their house, which is amazing. But now at that point, change it out every month and a half. Usually 3. You could possibly squeeze 3 months out of the filter if it's an auto, like if it's just turning on with the heating or cooling.
Right. Yeah. When it's activated. And if you see leaking close to your furnace during the summer, then call you ASAP, because we don't want that furnace to get that AC service, make sure that they doesn't rust the furnace. So
exactly.
Moving on to, obviously, we here at Dory Property Management, we manage rental properties, so we will often get after-hour calls, and when depending on what calls come in, some of the calls may be directed to you. So say you get an after-hour call from one of our rental properties where they have a gas furnace and the furnace isn't working. So typically, what would be like the troubleshooting? Because obviously, I'm actually it's a loaded question, because
right. every situation
Yeah.
is different, and every tenant is different as well.
Right.
Every homeowner is different. You know, they could have babies in the house where they're like, "Oh, we need you here like yesterday.
Yeah.
Please come repair it right away."
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, you go through some cursory troubleshooting questions like battery. Is there any display on the thermostat? If not, change the battery.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had guests recently? Sometimes that switch on the wall, click.
Yeah, in the basement, like that emergency shut off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or, you know, it usually happens around Christmas time.
Yeah. The kids are playing in the basement. And,
Or the guest, right? They're just,
the guest, yeah,
we
they
wanted
think
to
it's a
turn off
switch.
all the lights. So
Yeah.
you end up turning off the
Right,
furnace switch, right?
right.
So we get a lot of
Unwittingly.
these as well. So
Yeah.
we're able to filter some of those out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, filter, that's the important part. Filter, batteries in a thermostat.
Yeah, because a
Switch on the
filter, a
wall.
plugged filter could easily get the furnace to overheat and then shut off. As a
Exactly.
safety, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So it's not just, you know, the filter is good, but obviously it has, you know, it could be hard in the furnace as well if it's not replaced as required, right?
right. Well, going back to the cheaper filters, I choose pleated because if it's not pleated, then at some point it's going to be that, you know, that insulation type of
Yep.
very thin material
Yep.
where the dust, most of the dust is actually bypassing that filter. It's going right through it, and it's going to cake up the fan blades, and more importantly, the actual coil on the air conditioner that's
Okay.
above the furnace. And now it's going to be overheating eventually at some point in time, and then it's going to be a much more expensive repair.
Yeah.
It's very it's a fine line, but maintenance, filters, I can't stress that enough. It's so important.
No, yeah, absolutely. And if somebody calls and you determine, say, that the furnace, that the heating system, it's an emergency, you know, it's minus 35 outside. And
Right.
so what typically would you do? Because I'm assuming when it's overnight, there's limitations sometimes to get parts, or, you know, some of the suppliers are not open. So
that's the thing. I mean, depending on the feel I get off the tenant or the client, you know, if it sounds like it's probably going to need a part, there's not a lot of generic parts anymore. Not back about 10 years ago. You know, you could carry every part in your truck.
Right.
You know, this motor will fit for this furnace, this one, that. And you could even use it as an air conditioner, cooling fan. You could use it, you know, very versatile, but not so much anymore. I mean, now with the newer equipment, you know, high-end equipment that's, you know, younger than 10 years old, you're going to have to make a run to the supplier regardless.
Okay.
And half the time, the supplier is going to charge you the really excruciating cost for opening them up. Plus, you have to charge your time to wait there in the middle of the snowstorm. So, and then all that to find out that, oh, sorry, yeah, we don't have it in stock.
Right. Double whammy.
Investing in Ottawa real estate? Dory Property Management has 20 plus years of proven results. Call 613-227-0000 or visit doryrentals.com.
Exactly. But I do carry heaters if it's extreme. If it's late at night, I sometimes offer that option.
Bridge it to
Right.
to normal business hours.
But sometimes you could calm them down but explain to them that, you know, what's the temperature in the house now? Oh, it's only 20. I'm used to 21.
Yeah.
And it's 9 o'clock at night. You know, kind of say, you know, it's very doubtful with newer construction that it's ever going to drop more than around 15 at night. So,
Right.
you
So
gotta,
usually you bridge to the morning and
exactly. It's the best bet. But at times, if you don't always have that option. So,
And is it the same? So from an AC standpoint, obviously, I'm assuming the same constraints, right? If there's parts, but I'm assuming somebody calling in after hours with an AC issue, it's not as crucial as it may seem crucial.
especially on a Friday night.
Right, exactly. Hey, well, man, I want to sleep in comfort, but
well, I mean, the basement's always the coolest place in the house, right?
Right.
I mean, even my basement's in the summer.
Yeah.
I have to get my in-floor heating going in my basement. It's counterproductive, but I want to be comfortable.
Right. Exactly.
So it's always typically really cold. And if it's a finished basement, sometimes they're able to make do. Otherwise, if they do have that, terrace home which doesn't have a basement, and if it is a serious issue where they do have small babies and, you don't want to, or elders in the house, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Anyone sensitive to heat loss or heat gain, then you want to cater to them as soon as possible.
And you do a good job because obviously we get a lot of compliments on the judgment that you make. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
And your team on taking care of those. So it's good. And also, like, what would be signs that say a furnace needs servicing, and then on the same, opposite end, an AC needing services. So sometimes the furnace is not that it stopped working, but is it sound? Is it something like what would be
anything
signs?
out of the ordinary? I mean, the best person to ask would be that tenant.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they're going to be a fountain of knowledge for myself discussing with them on the phone what the issue is. But yeah, any changes, like if there's not enough airflow or not enough cooling, that they used to be able to maintain that temperature, but now all of a sudden it's not as hot or not as cool in the house, or
So they have the temperature set, but then they realize that it's
right.
Even though the thermostat is set at 21, then it keeps creeping down. Then there may be an issue. Okay.
Exactly, and that applies to heating as well as cooling.
Right.
Or if there's banging sound, sometimes a motor, sometimes smells. If they're smelling exhaust or anything
banging
like that.
sound like the motor, the furnace.
Exactly. And anything out of the ordinary as far as functionality and safety concerns.
And I've seen also, sometimes you get an AC, it's in the middle of a heat wave, and you go outside and the pipes have like a bunch of ice.
That's a couple of the most common problem with that.
It's working.
Right.
Yeah.
But the most common cause for that would be air filter.
That's right. The air filter is clogged. Yeah.
Or if someone decided to close all the ducts in the house to try to push it upstairs, because the upstairs is always going to be the hardest place to cool in the house.
Right.
It's
or the furthest away from the unit.
Exactly. Now, the best rule of thumb, best practices, close the ducts in the basement, because it's always going to be a nice box down there anyway.
Right.
But don't start closing off all the ones on the main level either, because now you're trying to fit all that cold air to a couple little ducts on the top level.
Right.
It's not good.
Yeah.
And when it thaws, it's going to melt on the furnace.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, which is not good.
Right. Anything like that. Any sounds, noises, smells.
Yeah.
Burning smell, exhaust smell, anything, water on the floor.
Yeah.
It's good for everyone to change out the filter and have a look around it. Make sure there's no water on the floor around it or no water on the furnace.
Right. And I know one of the things too, I think another reason why sometimes when people call and the furnace isn't working, and say there's been a huge snowstorm.
Right. The intake's plugged.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm feeding you this one because I just thought of it.
No.
That's one we run into from time to time.
A lot of time I'm able to.
Okay, everything's okay. Why is my furnace not working?
Yeah, and sometimes I send out that email to everyone the next day to just check your ducts or check your vents outside.
So for people listening in, if you don't know, it's the exhaust vent outside. If snow accumulates and plugs it, then sometimes the furnace will shut off.
I saved a lot of clients a lot of service calls just by mentioning
moving
that.
The snow close.
They're like, I don't know, I see the one pipe. What about the other one? The one is usually dipped down lower.
Yeah,
it's 90.
Yeah,
and if it's not snow, then it's going to be
in the summer,
right? Yeah,
right. I don't see it in the winter. That's a problem.
It's either going to be snow plugging it or kids putting rocks and yo-yos in.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. But I have seen it. I have repeat clients who do that. Could you vacuum the rocks out of the intake, please? Yeah, sure, no problem.
At least don't spend too much time troubleshooting.
Exactly.
And so then you hit, say for example, whether again I use furnace and AC. Being the two major, components. When would you recommend to somebody that perhaps it's not time to repair, it's time to replace? Like what are those? Whether it's age, usage,
age is everything, as well as the overall condition of it. I mean, sometimes you get some extensive corrosion on the heat exchanger. That's the main component where when the fan comes on, that's the tubes where the fumes go in, the fire and the fumes and everything like that. When that cracks, or if it rusts through and the fan circulates the heat around it as it should, it could draw fumes throughout the house that way.
Okay.
And that's so if it's a hazard, then obviously you got to leave it off, red tag it, gases off. And then give options at that point, whether it's replacing the heat exchanger or the entire furnace. But if it is a furnace that's, say, between 15 and 20 years old, and it's a major component, like say a $1,200 inducer motor that's seized, at that point, then you kind of weigh out the pros and cons. It depends on your situation as well as a homeowner. Do you plan on selling the house soon? Do you plan on keeping it? Is this a long-time investment?
Right.
Are you going to rent it? If you're selling it next year, just replace that inducer motor. I mean, why spend a whole lot of money on a furnace if you're not going to be able to strap it to your back and bring it to the new place?
Yeah, exactly,
right?
Exactly.
But then there's economical solutions as well. If you are a property owner and you're renting the place, and it's an older furnace, and you're going to keep it, but it's not going to be for yourself. You don't want all the bells and whistles. Economical brand's going to be a bit cheaper. Same warranties. Most manufacturers are all 10-year parts anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, I throw in a free 5-year labor as a kind of if it's maintained annually.
Okay.
So that's most companies charge upwards of $800 or $1,000 for that
additional
warranty,
labor warranty.
But I just roll it in. If you carry quality and people are taking care of their units, then there's no reason why you're going to even have to replace any components. So throw in a free 5-year labor.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. That's great. A lot of great information there for people listening in. So thank you for that. You've been very generous with your time, Selim. Thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you taking us up on the invite. Anything that I may have missed that maybe you say, oh, maybe you should have asked this, or sometimes I would try to hit what people are asking us and try to get most common things. But
I mentioned the filters, but that's everything. Regular maintenance is everything.
Right.
The key to longevity of any system, furnace, air conditioner, fireplace, maintenances. Maintenances, filters.
Yeah, filters a big thing. Pleated, cheap,
pleated, and just keep changing them out.
And if you run your furnace every month, if you run your fan all the time every month, and if not, maybe every 3 years, something like that. So.
3 months. But
I was listening.
Yeah, there you go. At least somebody listens.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks, Selim, for coming in. Really appreciate it, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Dory Podcast. If you're an entrepreneur or investor focused on real estate in Ottawa, we want to hear from you. Apply to be a guest and check out our video content anytime on YouTube.